It's the last one of 2022. This is Table Talk, and this week's question is, what is your most memorable moment in women's football of 2022? I've got Raiyan and Moyo with me. I'm going to go first. Mine was being at Camp Nou ×2 in the UEFA Women's Champions League with the crowds and the standards that they set. I'll go into it a little bit more. But, Moyo, what was yours?
Mine was England Lionesses Euros win at home.
I love that.
I said the Women's Champions League final, Battle of the Heavyweights. It just felt like Lyon are kind of the greats of the Champions League, but the new fans aren't aware of what they're capable of. And they had a few injuries, but they came back. And Barcelona, who was at the form of their life, it was just a shell-shocking moment. But football was great, environment looked great, the pre-match atmosphere looked great, so yeah.
Yeah, I remember being at that game and I got given a ticket to it. And I'd realised that as I went in, I was in the Lyon stand. And I was like, a bit naive of me because of, as you said, the hype of like everyone thought Barcelona had it. Like there were so many like predictions and everyone was saying Barcelona. Yeah. And I was in the Lyon end and I was like, oh man, like, Yeah. And then Lyon win it and I was like, yes, I'm in the Lyon end. And the vibes were immaculate. Like,
I also think it was one of those games where the managerial moves and tactics were so well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best ones apart from the Euros final, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We've got to talk about, I think all of us could have probably put England bringing it home. We had to make sure we switched it up a bit and different moments, like, but ultimately, like, England bringing it home, I think for me, and I don't know if you agree, like there was so much more on the line than it just be...
Yeah, just being
not just winning the Euros, because it's never just, but I mean, for women's football, England winning the Euros meant so much and more.
I remember, do you remember the media day that we went to, before the Euros started?
Yeah.
And I think it was me and you that were talking, and I was like, for women's football in this country, England needs to make it to the final. Yeah. Whatever happens in that final happens in the final, but like England needed to make it to the final in order for like viewership numbers to stay high, in order for people to actually be invested in what was happening. England needed to make it to the final. And it's funny because it felt like we put pressure on like they need to make it to the final, whereas I felt like they seemed calm pretty much the entire time, and that obviously stems from Serena and like her calm demeanour and that going on to the team. But yeah, and to do the home Euros, you can't really beat a home Euros, winning a home Euros. The crowds were incredible. The
The vibes were immaculate.
Such a good...
Yeah. That was so many people's first taste of women, like if women's football
Even
as well.
proper football.
But I was going to say, like, you was obviously there for loads of matches. I was there for, honestly, I don't know how many. I was just everywhere. And anywhere.
You lived there, to be honest.
Yeah, I lived, like, the Euros was home. It was literally home, and we were at home. But as a photographer, you were there capturing it. Like, how...
Yeah.
Talk us through that.
So I've never done that. It's not my profession in that way, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when the final goal went in, I just dropped my camera and I had to take that moment in because it's like, I know I should be working, but you cannot miss a moment like that. And as soon as the final whistle went, I had to come across, and I was just jumping around and celebrating with the fans. And I'm not English, right? I'm not from here, so for that, it just felt like a moment in football, women's football. Something's shifted, and you had like 87,000 people there, and there's something that rings through your body. I started crying. I was just bawling on the pitch. It looked like I put in like years of work there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was amazing. And the players, they came up as well. They were very in the mood to like engage with the fans, which I think is the best part of women's football. So yeah.
It felt like a crowning moment as well, for so many players that like, so like I'm thinking of like how like Toon and Russo, for example, in terms of like the WSL, how that felt like a crowning moment for them in terms of United fans probably rated them as high as we do. But outside of that, a lot of people weren't aware of how good some of the heights that these people could hit. It was the same as like Netherlands goalkeeper.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Do you get what I mean? Like it was the time for you to sort of like stand up and say, oh, like, even if you didn't know, like, I'm here. And it felt like that moment for so many players in the Euros, which is why I think it was my favourite moment.
I think going back as well, we can't not talk about, like, Jill Scott and Ellen White, like
Yeah. It was
for them to win the Euros and then retire, which obviously no one was expecting.
Yeah.
But
It's poetic almost.
yeah, but you just saw how much it meant, like, and I
Yeah.
think it meant even more after the fact they'd retired. Like, even I don't even know if that's possible, but like, Jill was going into that tournament. Like, you've seen a few of the documentaries. Like, Jill went into that tournament thinking like she potentially wouldn't play much. Her role off the pitch, how she had to implement that and be there, and everyone says how amazing she is at doing that. And yeah, it is just so special. And like, I remember being there and being like, I didn't think it was real. Like, it was just like the most surreal moment to, like, I don't know, like thinking about it, going back to the Euros, that game against Spain was probably one of the hardest games I've ever watched.
I'm not gonna lie, that was probably the game my heart was in my mouth.
No, my Apple Watch was like, you need to go for a
Calm
walk.
down. Yeah.
No, I was like sat in the friends and family as well, so
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
with like parents and stuff like that for the Spain game, and honestly, like,
It was literally like, where is this goal coming from? At one point, it did feel like, where's the goal? Where is the goal coming from? Where's the goal coming from?
Spain was so good and so well organized.
And that
at
was
the back,
without
I felt like,
Alexia,
for
which is
some time.
insane.
Oh.
Like, Bonmati stepped up hugely in that tournament. Like,
I think for her as well, I know we're kind of going off subject, but like for Bonmati, that was like a turning point for people actually being like, what a good player she was.
I think for Barcelona fans, they were always aware how good she was.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
but that's what I mean. I feel like,
but
world.
in the international stage.
yeah,
But yeah, I just can't stop thinking about like Camp Nou. Like,
that was incredible.
I literally sat there for the second game, so when it was against Wolfsburg.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I had a migraine, so I suffer from migraines, yeah. And I remember sitting there watching the game, like, it was packed, it was incredible. And I remember just sitting there and being like, I'm in so much pain right now. And I was like, but I can't let this migraine like overtake it. Like, I don't know how I did it, but I just like forgot about the pain of the migraine, and I took it in, and I was like sat with a hot dog, like I got like a kid's meal from a kiosk, like sat with a hot dog, a headache, and like a water, watching this amazing game of football and thinking, like, I feel so rubbish right now in terms of like my head, but I was like, this is incredible. And I remember just sitting there and taking it in, and like, I actually had my phone and I recorded the moment of me just sitting there and taking it in, because when I look back at it, like, it was, you could just see me watching, and my phone's there, like, I know my phone's there, but I'm not focusing on my phone, like, I'm just watching the game. And I was just like, wow, like, this is women's football. Like, this is like a part of it that's really gonna start a movement. And then it was like, this is what I dream of it being, like, constantly. This isn't a one-off, or like it happens a few times a year. I was like, this is what it could be, and like how it should be.
It felt like the blueprint for atmosphere in women's game. Like, the new camp sort of set standards in terms of like,
And football in general, because it's shaped like that, right? The dome.
Yeah.
And even from the top view, you have some of the greatest.
Oh,
views,
somewhat,
right?
I can't begin to, like, I was just like in awe. I was like, I feel so lucky, I feel so privileged, like, to be here working, to be here enjoying this game, to watch it. Like, it was so powerful, and like taking that aspect, being there, and then like England bringing it home, like, they're two completely separate things, but together, like, the feelings and the growth and how important it is for the women's game. Like, I genuinely don't think I can pick one of these. Like, even the vibes were immaculate at that final.
Like, I think you had like 15,000 Barcelona fans flying in. That's amazing.
When I think of all the different aspects that I bring in my personal experience, like, I can't pick one. Like,
each one represents like a different feeling,
emotions,
basically.
and also for like different fan views, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, and
But are you choosing what?
no, there's no but.
No,
for
there's
me,
no
like,
but. There's no but.
Obviously, for me, like, England winning it and bringing it home is everything I could dream of and more. Like, I wanted it so much. Like, I was so in it. But when I take away like each of the different feelings and the experiences from each,
and
like, going to the final, meant to be sitting in Barcelona's end because I thought they were going to win, but actually being with Leon and Leon winning, and like that celebration and being within that, and then England winning it and bringing it home, and everyone needing it, and it being a thing, and it actually happening, and then sitting and watching literally thousands of fans at a women's football game, like, everyone was in it, like, the different feelings and bits from each, like, it all just adds into one for me of why it's been so special.
And also for the last one, after Barcelona won the game, they, the beat
Yeah.
drums
Yeah.
and everything. And
Yeah.
I think that was iconic in a way because you could see all the fans over there, they're ultras as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just the
It's
start of
incredible.
something.
I honestly can't pick one. Like the memories that it brings and like how important it is. Like, I'm not crying. I've just
Yeah, I was about to say, calm down, love.
and how much each of these has played such a crucial part in women's football and will continue to. And it's like literally history.
Yeah.
That will never ever be taken away from it. Like as you say, the heavyweights, like bringing it home, the record crowds.
Yeah.
I can't pick one. I just think it cements of like how incredible the journey has been and how much more there is to come from women's football.
Yeah.
I can't pick one.
You don't need to.
You don't need to. It's fine. At least we got all three then.
Yeah.
This 1 year.
Yeah, it's our top three. It's our top three.
So we're gonna go with a top three. So I think we all just need to hold them up, and that's it. That is the last table talk of 2022, and what a way to end it. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we will see you in the new year.